All right, what's up? Welcome to another edition of Last Take. You guys might notice Rob is not here. He's a little under the weather. Got these two handsome, long-haired gentlemen to fill in for him. We got Drake, we got Horse. Guys, what's going on?
Thanks for having us.
All right, so couldn't not record an episode this week because we're coming off the biggest New York Giants victory in I don't know how many years. It's been a while since I felt this good. Again, wish Rob was here. If we, would be nice to bust his chops, but he's the worst to make fun of with these kinds of things. He posts this like well thought out, like congrats Giants tweet on Twitter in like the nicest way, like fuck him. But what are you guys' thoughts on the game? It was awesome. Drake, we'll start with you. What's going through your mind?
Well, going into the game, I never really gave us a chance as far as like the rest of our schedule is pretty tough to begin with, and I was just picking games I thought we might be able to win, and that was the lock for games I did not think we had a chance to win. And then when Colt McCoy was supposed to start, I was just like, let's not embarrass ourselves when we go to Seattle, because obviously with Rob being a Seahawks fan, I don't want to have my team get wiped out, but I think he's probably still sick over the fact that his team lost in Seattle against a backup 37-year-old quarterback, which is kind of ridiculous. And honestly, it still hasn't even really registered that they won. And now that the Steelers beat or lost to the Washington football team, it's really important that we won that game, because like neither were expected, and now like that they both won, like the NFC is turning out to be two pretty solid 5-7 teams. It just goes to show that defense can win just about any game in this league.
Yeah, for sure. Horse.
I'm definitely with Drake. I did not have us winning this game at all. On the down low, I was rooting for DK. I wanted him to go off. I was. Fantasy, don't get me started. But what got me, though, more with the Giants coming in was we slowly have been clicking each week, and we slowly have been, like, I'm losing my words, Horse. But we've been making the plays that we needed to make into getting our wins, and like we did lose. Well, we lost to Pitt back in week 1, where like we also didn't even have a preseason. So losing to Pitt in week 1 by how many?
10.
How many points?
10-point game.
It was a 10-point game, but it was still a close game coming down. And what Drake says, yeah, it definitely does come down with defense, does matter. And with Washington getting that win last night, yeah, it does scare probably all of us, but us having that tiebreaker, like already sweeping them the whole season, like it gives us wiggle room to like if we screw up. But I don't know, I'll still take Danny Dimes over Alex Smith any day.
Mm-hmm.
So no.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you guys are right. You said a lot there. The fact that the football team pulled out a win at the Steelers, which I think everyone saw the Steelers kind of fall back to earth coming, just given how their schedule was going. But I didn't anticipate them losing to Washington. I'd like them to cover, but to win outright was ridiculous. You're right, Drake. Defense wins any game in this league, can win at any time. We saw that. I saw a stat. It was like the last time the Giants had 4 consecutive games or more of allowing their opponent to score 21 or less were the last 2 Super Bowl runs. So, like, not to get our hopes up or anything, but that's the last time we've seen this defense be this good, and they're really legitimate right now. Sacking Russell Wilson 5 times, that's not something that happens. And then with DK, I just need to say, it pissed me off to no end how much attention his stiff arm got when he gained 0 yards on the play. James Bradberry almost punched that ball out, tackled him for no gain, and held him to 4 catches for 62 yards because he ended up with 580, but that was one of the plays where Bradberry wasn't on him. So Bradberry dominated this man, and just because he shoves him and gets up and starts dancing around I don't even know what he was doing, like for a 0-yard gain, it bothered me so much. I was so glad to see Bradberry just lock his ass up all game.
Yeah. I liked it. I liked his stiff arm. Even though he got no yards, I just like seeing big hits. So him putting his head into the ground kind of gave me a tickle.
Yeah, it looked like he could almost cut to the middle and just burn him, and it almost looked like he turned back to Bradberry just to give him like a fuck you, like a freak of nature, and I'm going to push you to the ground, and he did so, but it didn't help his team, I think. I mean, yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good look for Bradbury, but at the end of the game on the stat sheet, like getting the W and holding him to 62 yards, he's been a freak this year against the best corners in the league, best safeties, no matter who's covering him.
Mm-hmm.
He's been an absolute beast. Like, and for Bradbury to shut him down, and for the Giants, like secondary and like safeties, cornerbacks, and linebackers included, to just like cover up these holes. In past years, they've been like Swiss cheese. They've been awful. I mean, teams were burning them. You wouldn't think they would stop a 3rd and 15 last year, or like the last 3 or 4 years, and now like it seems like any pass past 10 yards is just not going to be completed, just because their secondary is ridiculous. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, how about Jabril Peppers? I mean, Mark Schlereth was awful during the game, whether it was that DK play, could not stop talking about Jamal Adams. And then at the end of the game actually said, I think Jabril Peppers brought it today because he knew who was going against Jamal Adams, which was ridiculous. But, I mean, at this point, I don't think any Giant fan could be upset about the Odell Beckham trade anymore. Jabril Peppers has not only blossomed here, he's just a certified stud, which I think is awesome with, obviously all of us being, Bergen County guys, him being a Bergen County guy, and seeing him really crush it for his hometown team is definitely awesome.
He will win. He's the kind of guy that he'll get you through. Like, he will win you a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
he will make those plays to win you a championship.
Mm-hmm.
He was never able to do it at Michigan, but we all know what he did in high school. But he will win us a Super Bowl here.
Mm-hmm.
And what? He's 25.
Mm-hmm.
He's 25 right now. He'll be 26 in June.
Pretty much in his prime right now.
Yeah, no, I hope he's a Giant for a long time. And then speaking of Jamal Adams, he's a guy who obviously forced his way out of New York with the Jets. He had a quote after the game saying that it hurts a little bit extra losing to a New York team, knowing how much hate he has gotten and still gets from the New York market. To lose a game at home that they were heavily favored in to a New York team, said it hurt him. And that's music to my ears, honestly. Jamal Adams is just always running his mouth. So for the Giants to go and stick it to him, even though he played a great game, he's a talented dude, but he is by far one of the most annoying athletes that's ever come through New York.
Yeah, I agree. And I really liked him at first, even though he was a Jet. He was just a freak of nature. He was a beast. He played really well with the Jets. And then, I feel like a lot of these guys just, coming out of college, when they hit the pros and they get their paycheck, and they're just kind of some of them can adjust to the fame and some can. He's just, seems like he's having a tough time. He's so, obsessed with himself right now, and I feel like he's not thinking team first. Don't get me wrong, he's a great player. He played well that night. He's just – I feel like once he reels it in a little bit – I honestly thought Jabril was kind of that way when he first got to the league, and now he's proven himself, whether it's Joe Judge coaching him or whatever coach has been on his side. He's reeled it in and become a real, leader and person to look up to in the defense and the entire team. I mean, that's why he's a captain this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll move on from that big win from the Giants. We'll go to the other team in town, the New York Jets, and they had probably the most Jets finish I've ever seen to a game in my entire life. Sending 7 up 4 at the end of the game with the Raiders needing a Hail Mary to win. That's exactly what they give up. Fire their defensive coordinator the next day. I don't know. Were you guys watching, and what were your thoughts when you saw that?
I was watching it enticingly because I had Derek Carr as my QB this past week, and when I saw, what did you say, 7 pass rushers?
I think they sent 7.
Yeah.
I read an article, I think it was yesterday, it was on ESPN, that they said that in the past 15 years there was about 257 similar scenarios to that exactly similar scenario, and every time no defense ever sent more than 6 pass rushers. Now they sent 7 or 8.
Yeah,
I was just what the hell? And when I saw Derek Carr moving up in the pocket when I'm about to throw, I was like, how the hell is this guy going to be open? And then they were talking about how that cornerback was a rookie and all that stuff, and I couldn't believe the call. I think that guy Williams was trying to tank for to get Trevor Lawrence.
Totally with that.
Totally trying
I'm
to tank.
shocked no one mentioned that. I'm again.
If you're in the pros, you don't try to tank. Get the fuck out of it. You don't try to tank. And yeah, that was a dumb call.
Yeah.
That guy's an idiot.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I honestly was shocked. Like the Stephen A's of the world and everyone on ESPN didn't say like, oh, it was a move to tank. They were just like, how could you do that? How could you do that? Like the guy's not an idiot. He's been a defensive coordinator and in the NFL for 25 years. He knows what he's doing. He definitely just rushed 7 because someone probably got in his ear and it was like, look, like we can't lose this first round draft pick. I truly don't believe in conspiracies or anything like that, but I believe this guy sent everybody so they could lose the game. And then they realized just in the New York media, they were getting a lot of heat. They're like, all right, we'll just make him the scapegoat. And they fired him. I do not think for a second, if they were 5-5, that he would have rushed 7. It's not because he doesn't know what he's doing. It's because of like the opportunity they have at getting Trevor Lawrence.
I don't think the Jets need Trevor Lawrence though.
I mean, I think they need somebody at quarterback. They need new coach, that's for sure.
They need a lot more than just a quarterback.
I think if you like here, I was talking to my one friend last night. If the Jets can get that I hate this team, but the 49ers defensive coordinator, bald-headed dude, he's
big meat stick. Yeah.
If the Jets go after him, and they bring him in as the coach, because I think it's personnel with this team right now. I think it's all personnel. Adam Gase does not deserve to be should not be the head coach there.
No, he definitely doesn't deserve to be the head coach. But
I don't put all this blame on Sam Darnold. I don't at all.
No, and I definitely don't. I think that he's been put in a tough situation coaching-wise and then weapons-wise too. But then even now, the past couple of games where he's gotten his receivers back, he still hasn't looked all that good. I think Sam Darnold's going to go to either – like the Steelers or the Colts, and I think he'll be a decent quarterback. I do. But no, I mean, I think just the way it's gone the last years with the Jets, I think they're going to move on, whether it's Trevor Lawrence or, God forbid, they move down to the number 2 pick. I think they probably take Justin Fields. I just think that they're going to take a quarterback.
You have to take in the fact that Trevor Lawrence might not even enter the draft.
And it's possible. I just think I don't know. I feel like people say this every year, like about the team with the number 1 pick, that they're too dysfunctional. Like people were saying Joe Burrow was maybe going to try and force his way out of Cincinnati. I mean, it's a little different because Trevor Lawrence does have eligibility left. But as the slam dunk number 1 pick, I can't see him saying I don't want to play for the Jets, that he's going to stay another year at Clemson and risk injury. I just think it's too big of a risk. No matter.
Didn't Peyton Manning do that back in the day?
So Peyton Manning did stay in school. Actually, yeah. So the Jets got screwed over by Peyton Manning. He stayed in school. And
it was the Jets too. So it's like
it was the Jets. Yeah. So honestly, I'm acting like it hasn't happened before. It's happened before. And then Eli forced his way because he didn't want to play for the Chargers. Eli forced that trade to the Giants in 2004. So actually, both the Mannings kind of decided where they did or didn't want to play coming out of school, which is why I feel like they also had like the Manning pedigree to them, like their dad was an NFL player. It's like I don't know if Trevor Lawrence does it, but no, so I'm with you guys in regards to the game on Sunday. I think Greg Williams did it on purpose. He's not stupid. I think he's a professional defensive coordinator. He's been doing it for a long time. He knows that you shouldn't rush 7 on that kind of situation. But I don't think he was tanking because I think he knew he wasn't going to be here next year. I think he legitimately just hates Adam Gase that much that he doesn't want them to win a game. Like, I don't think he wanted to win a game because he hates Adam Gase. Like, winning 1 game or no games does nothing for Greg Williams. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he'll probably get a job somewhere else next year in football. But, like, he really wants to screw over Adam Gase and be like, this is the worst coach the Jets have ever had. And I legitimately think that that's why he did that, to lose the game on purpose, because there's no way it was incompetence. He did it on purpose. It wasn't tanking because he's not going to be with the Jets next year. So I think he did it literally just to screw over Adam Gase.
Yeah, I agree.
Screw him.
Yeah.
I like our coach. The Giants have Joe Judge. I really like that guy.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. I mean, if you look at the Giants, they've won 4 Super Bowls in their history, and 2 were with Parcells, 2 were with Tom Coughlin. And they're both like no nonsense, like just get everyone to buy into the team kind of guys, and that's what Joe Judge is.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today, and just like all the coaches in the NFC East. And I think just as far as coaches goes, like obviously Doug Peterson's a good coach. He won them a Super Bowl. They have their whole other issues with where Carson Wentz's confidence is at, this and that. But I think the Redskins got it right. Washington football team, sorry, force of habit. With Ron Rivera. I actually wanted him as the Giants coach over Matt Rule, over anybody that was available when
I now want Matt
they were Yeah, I didn't want him either. Like just
First time head coach coming out of like what?
Yeah, he was at Baylor, I think.
Yeah,
I just Ron Rivera is just like a very aggressive coach. He goes for it on fourth, like gets it, doesn't, but he's just a good aggressive coach. He doesn't go by the books, and I really like that. And I really, really wanted them, but it seems like we obviously picked the right guy as well. So as far as coaching goes, I think for the next few years at least.
Dude, Judge won 2 championships with Saban at Bama. He
Yeah,
won
and then
09
I
in
think
2011.
three
And then
with
he won
Belichick too.
2 or 3, I think 3 Super Bowls with Belichick.
Yeah,
So
he was special.
He was getting mentored by 2 of the best coaches ever in the game of football. And now he's our head coach, and he's gonna be here for a long, long time.
Yeah, so I think as far as coaches go, we got it figured out. The Washington football team has it figured out. The Eagles, I just think between the statue outside and Carson Wentz sucking and them just like always like that whole year where he like played great and then Foles kind of just like took the trophy out of his hand, the guy's confidence is blown and I don't think it's ever coming back. So I think the only way to move on is just get rid of him. Like I don't think the guy can do it anymore. Like I think he's like mentally shot. Like imagine like risking your ACL for your team, and then next thing you know, guy steps up, wins the Super Bowl, and they got a statue outside Lincoln Financial of the coach and him. And like, meanwhile, you put your body on the line that whole season and had a winning record. Like that's just got to mess with him mentally.
He was having an MVP type season too.
What's that?
He was having an MVP type season too.
100%. Yeah, he was in an MVP conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think his like mentally, at least in Philadelphia, his confidence is shot, and they have the right coach. They just need to move on from him. They need to let him go elsewhere because it's just never going to work there, I think.
I'm with you partially. I think Doug Peterson's honestly getting fired after this year. I think he's been so pathetic in just how he's dealt with this. I mean, I know Wentz has been bad, but just the way he handles the media, he seems like he's clueless. Like he doesn't really defend his guy like as bad as he's been. Like he wasn't really up front. He was saying like he had a quote earlier on. It was something about how he was like never going to start Jalen Hurts. Like the day we start Jalen Hurts is like the day I'll find it and put it in here. But like, and now he's starting Jalen Hurts, which I football wise is the right move. But just like, I feel like he's completely lost that locker room, lost that team. And yeah, I agree with you. Carson Wentz, as bad as he's been, I wouldn't doubt he could go somewhere else and be a good quarterback. You're right. How are you supposed to live up to a season where you would have been the MVP if you stayed healthy? Your backup comes in, beats Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. There's a statue outside of the stadium of him and your current coach still. And you're asked to step in and live up to what Philly fans will never forget as the first Eagles Super Bowl. Like the Eagles are literally a religion in Philadelphia. I went to school with kids from Philly. Like it's like the Eagles are like everything there. Like it's more than the Flyers, Sixers, Phillies. Like the Eagles are the team. And like that Super Bowl meant so much to them. So for Wentz to have to come in after that and when Foles leaves town and go right back to his, MVP ways, like it just wasn't going to happen. It was too much to live up to. So he needs to change the scenery. I think they got to get rid of Doug Peterson too.
I'm with you. I think Doug Peterson failed him more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just think,
I think the GM failed the team.
He handled it the wrong way, and Carson Wentz was a great player, and he's a bigger reason than Nick Foles, in my opinion, that they won that Super Bowl. It was good coaching, and Nick Foles did what he had to do, but like that was Carson Wentz's team, and I think Peterson failed him. And the scumbag Philly fans aren't going to back you up if you don't start playing good ball. That's just the way they are. So, he's not going to survive there. It's the bottom.
We'll see. Yeah, and we'll see this weekend. We'll see if Jalen Hurts starts to be the guy. I mean, that team also, they've had so many injuries on the offensive line. They had Travis Fulgham step up early in the year, and he's kind of disappeared lately. So they really don't have anyone that, to throw to, especially with Zach Ertz hurt. So that team is really just a shit show. I mean, it's one of the quicker, and you can throw the Falcons in, but I guess the Falcons lost the Super Bowl, so it doesn't really apply. But one of the quickest Super Bowl to trash team declines we've seen, I think, in a long time.
I totally agree.
Fuck them. I don't care. They're in our division. I like that they suck.
Oh, yeah. I love it too.
But yeah, they're a fucking disaster.
Watching them play the past few weeks just makes me really question how we ever lost to them. Like I know how we lost that game, and I know we're a different team now than we were then. But that was a game we really should have.
Everything's clicking now.
Everything is clicking.
Last year, Joe Judge wasn't our coach last year, but Like everything's clicking now, and we didn't have a preseason.
No.
That goes into a lot. That goes in for every team. We didn't.
No, it does, right? You're right, Horse. Usually there's, weeks of training camp and, combined practices for preseason games. We had none of that this year. I don't even know how often these guys were practicing, full contact with Corona. I don't know if I really don't know that, but, it clearly took them a little time to get acclimated, especially with a new coach, second-year quarterback, and they've really been a different team these past couple of weeks.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll move on. We'll finish up, Horse. We got a big tilt tonight. Big Ten ACC Challenge. A bunch of games on tonight. A couple more tomorrow. Iowa UNC, Illinois Duke, and then of course the biggest matchup for you and I at 9:30. We got Rutgers going on against Syracuse. Got a little wager on the game. Where's your head at, Horse? What's on your mind?
For the Cuse Rutgers or the whole thing?
Just Cuse Rutgers.
See, I've been still reading around and asking some kids from school if those 5 guys that got COVID, like on Friday, are gonna play. I think it's gonna be like the way Boeheim plays. He just does that zone defense where the one thing that he has, like coming into this game, is that you guys have never played our zone or the Boeheim type defense. So, it's a very stubborn defense. We don't do a lot of moving around. We literally just take up space. But it comes down to if we're going to make shots, if we're going to take shots, and that would be the difference maker. If we start, if you guys get out to a lead and we're missing our shots, this is going to be. I think it's going to be a good game, though. I think it's going to go down the wire.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously you look at Syracuse, really good ACC team. Rutgers kind of had a breakout year last year in the Big Ten. I was trying to look into how many of those 5 guys who are out are starters or not. I know one of them is Boeheim's son. I know Buddy Boeheim, so he's pretty good. I don't know how much, the other guys are, how much they were really supposed to play and factor in. Regardless, they're going to be a little bit thinner tonight, I'm assuming, so that'll probably – factor in. But no, the big thing, and you hit on the Horse, is the zone. So Rutgers, when they're at their best, they're not a great half-court offense team. Like, they're not great playing when it's slow and you have to work the ball. Not that they can't score, but they're not a team with a ton of half-court scoring. Ron Harper Jr., another Don Bosco product, he can knock down some threes. We're missing Geo Baker right now, our point guard, who he's another pretty good shooter. And they have some other guys who can get hot, but no one who has really established themselves as a knockdown shooter yet, which is tough. It's tough to break a zone if you can't hit some 3-pointers and try and extend it and shift it a little bit. Yeah. Rutgers is better when they get out in transition. So they're going to need to win on the defensive end, get those points in transition, not let Syracuse get set up in their zone. Because if they let Syracuse get into the zone and we can't shoot, then it could be a long night. So we'll see. I expect a good game from both sides, but excited to watch a lot of college basketball tonight for sure.
Yeah. Wait, did you make what were your picks? Did you pick? You made a parlay for tonight.
I took Ohio State money line there at Notre Dame. I've watched a couple of Ohio State's games this year so far. I've liked what I've seen, so I took their money line.
Yeah,
I took Iowa minus 3.5. They haven't played anyone yet. They've only played 3 games. They've only played they haven't played any real Power 5 opponents, but they've won every game by at least 30. They've looked dominant. Luka Garza was the Big Ten Player of the Year last year. He's back this year for his senior year because he's not like an NBA prospect really for whatever reason. So he's back. So I took them at North Carolina. And then I might sprinkle on Illinois money line. They're at Duke. Illinois come off they lost to Baylor pretty significantly, but I mean Baylor's the number 2 team in the country. Illinois narrowly won their game before that by only 2. But they have, remember these 2 names if you guys watch college basketball, like bet Illinois games, Dosunmu and Coburn. His name is actually, it's spelled Cockburn, but it's Coburn. They're literally they're like the light version of Shaq and Kobe. Like Coburn is an absolute beast down low. Like he's just a unit of a guy. He just owns the paint. He's sick to watch. And then Dosunmu is like a shooting guard. He's like knock down shots, put up points. So like those 2 are a dynamic duo. So, like, if you bet Illinois, like, watch for those two guys because they're two of the better players in the conference and probably even the country. So, that's what I'm probably going to give them a shot tonight, even though they haven't necessarily played well their past couple games. Still early. I'll bet on talent, so I'm going to throw a couple bucks on Illinois.
Yep, I agree, even though I just left really quick.
All right, boys. Any closing thoughts? Appreciate you guys doing this, stepping in for Rob. What anything else on your mind?
Step in. He's still sick over.
There's no hockey going on, so I have nothing to bring that up about.
Yeah, I'll have you back on to talk hockey and try and understand it.
Well, actually, yeah, Drake brought up the news that, the NHL is coming back January 13th. So
I think they just announced that either last night or this morning, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Why January 13th? Or do they just really want to, like, try and give players, like, a full off season after?
Well, they're definitely giving them the holidays, but then something happened with the owners where, like, I was listening to Chicklets today, and the guys were talking about how before they did the playoffs in the summer, the owners signed a deal where, like, I think the players have to give up maybe 10% of their salary, and then they'll get it down the road. But then the owners were like, no, screw it. We're taking that agreement away, and we're going to make it 25%. So then there was, I guess, like, some scuffle going around with that. And, like, the owners can do what they want. They're the ones that are putting the product out there.
Right.
But yeah, also they're looking at the vaccine and seeing with, like, what's going on with that. And then with how many games they're going to play, and they're doing a bunch of different things. Like, they're having an all Canadian division.
Right, I heard that.
So, like, no team from Canada is coming down. I don't know if they're coming down here, or, like, we're going up there sometimes, but yeah, this year is going to be very, very
a little unorthodox.
It's going to be very different. I liked all Canadian division. I think that's going to be a lot of bragging rights going left and right. So I think that's pretty sick.
I think they did a good job getting it going in the bubble. I thought they did a pretty good job with that. I mean, they didn't have any cases. Like, they had a good Stanley Cup final. It just it was pretty seamless. It was a good job.
Yeah, they know.
This
and
isn't
they
the
might
first year of the Kraken, is it? Or is that next year?
At the end of this season, they're having the expansion draft.
Okay.
And then, like, next season, which, like, I hope we have a full season and, like, everything's back to normal. They'll be in the league.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
Fuck Seattle though.
All right, boys. This was fun. We'll have to do it again sometime. Drake, Horse.
Thanks.
Boys, appreciate it. This was Last Take. Check us out. Smash the subscribe button, and next week, hopefully, Rob's ugly mug will be back. So,
and Rob, you lost to a 37-year-old backup quarterback in Seattle with MVP Russell Wilson. Fuck you.